As nighttime descended, the Slytherin boys busied themselves gathering firewood, the last rays of the setting sun casting long shadows across the campsite. The stars began to twinkle in the sky, and a soft, cool breeze rustled the foliage. Draco, Blaze, and the other boys worked diligently to collect enough firewood to last the night, their hands calloused from the rough work.
Blaze snickered as Draco struggled to carry a particularly large log, giving him a sly, teasing grin. "Hey, don't hog all the big logs, Malfoy. Some of us need a challenge too." Blaze called out, his voice full of friendly jest.
Draco shot Blaze a glare, but then a small, reluctant snort of laughter escaped him. "Piss off, Blaze," he retorted, trying to sound annoyed but failing miserably as a slight smile tugged at the corner of his mouth.
Matteo let out an exasperated sigh, hefting another large log into his arms. He grumbled, "I didn't sign up to wrestle with trees all night. Can't we just charm a few branches to burn?"
Blaze rolled his eyes, shooting Matteo a dry look. "Yeah, because that won't attract any unwanted attention, Matteo. Brilliant idea."
Draco couldn't resist adding his 2 cents, a smirk playing on his lips as he glanced over at Matteo. He muttered under his breath, "Come now, friend, don't be like that. Don't tell me you're too weak to carry a few logs." He knew it was a petty jab, but he couldn't help it. Matteo was acting like a diva, and Draco found it amusing to tease him about it.
Matteo let out an exasperated huff, abruptly dropping the logs he was carrying and throwing his hands up in frustration. "Oh, that's it. I've had enough," he exclaimed, a hint of irritation in his voice. "I don't know why those pesky Gryffindors aren't out here helping too. Bloody bastards." He crossed his arms, looking like a sulking child as Blaze and Draco shared a look, amused by Matteo's overdramatic display.
Draco had to bite his lip to suppress a smirk at Mattheo's petulant outburst, finding his drama queen attitude equally irritating and amusing.
Blaze, on the other hand, had no such restraint. He snickered openly, raising an eyebrow at Mattio's pouting. "Oh, Matteo," he teased, the smirk on his face widening. "Are you getting a bit cranky out here, mate? Need a break to pout and throw a tantrum?"
Lorenzo stepped in, hoisting the logs with ease and feigning a heroic pose. He proclaimed dramatically, "Fear not, citizens. Lorenzo the Brave is here to rescue the poor, overworked Matteo." He turned to Matteo with a sly grin. "Shall we?" Before Potter and his friends finished that bag of marshmallows on their own.
Blaze and Draco chuckled at Lorenzo's antics, their previous bickering momentarily forgotten as they watched their friend play act as the valiant hero. As the boys emerged from the cover of the trees, carrying the large logs over their shoulders, they couldn't help but notice the girls sitting around the campfire. The girls' chatter quieted momentarily as their eyes fell upon the boys, taking in the sight of them with an unspoken admiration. Blaze and Draco, ever the braggarts, exchanged satisfied grins, clearly pleased with the attention. Even Matteo, his earlier mood forgotten, puffed out his chest a little as the girls watched them approach. As Draco dropped the logs by the campfire, he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. The logs had been heavier than they looked, and he had been trying to act like it was effortless, but now that the weight was off his shoulders, he felt his muscles relax. A small, genuine smile tugged at the corner of his lips. Despite the fact that he was putting on a show earlier, he was actually glad to have a moment to rest. As Draco wiped away the sweat on his forehead with the hem of his t-shirt, he inadvertently lifted the fabric higher, exposing a tantalizing glimpse of his bare abdomen. His t-shirt rode up, bearing his chiseled abs and toned stomach. The sight was unintentionally alluring, and some of the girls nearby couldn't help but steal appreciative glances his way.
Matteo rolled his eyes at the display, scoffing lightheartedly. "Hey, save some of the ladies for us, wouldn't ya, Malfoy?" he teased, elbowing Draco in the ribs.
As Draco quickly composed himself, tugging his t-shirt back down, his gaze swept across the clearing, landing on you. He froze, his heart skipping a beat as his eyes met yours. Your gaze was fixed on him, and he couldn't tell if it was his imagination or if you had actually been watching him. He felt his cheeks heat up slightly, a mix of embarrassment and a strange sense of satisfaction filling him at the thought of you looking at him. Draco tried to sound nonchalant as he patted his shoulder. "They're all yours, bud," he muttered, a small smirk on his lips. He casually took a few steps away from the fire, trying to act like he was just moving to stretch his legs. But in reality, he was using the excuse to move closer to you. Draco's gaze flickered around the clearing, taking in the sight of the other students setting up smaller campfires of their own. The flickering flames cast dancing shadows across the campsite, creating a cozy ambience. He noticed that many of the students were gathering around the small fires, chatting and laughing among themselves. The warm light and crackling wood made the scene look almost inviting. "I'm going to go set up a campfire by the lake. See you guys later." With that, he turned on his heel and walked off, leaving Blaze and Matteo smirking and whispering to each other as they watched him go. Draco picked up a handful of the logs he had gathered earlier and hefted them in his arms. He mentally cursed at how heavy they were, but he tried not to show it. He made his way down to the lake shore, the cool night breeze blowing through his hair. The area by the lake was a bit quieter and more secluded, which suited Draco just fine. He dumped the logs on the ground and began to arrange them into a small circle, preparing to build a fire. Draco struggled with arranging the logs into a decent structure, cursing quietly under his breath. It was his first time trying to build a campfire, and he was quickly realizing that it wasn't as easy as it seemed. The logs kept falling over, and Draco was getting increasingly annoyed. "Bloody hell," he muttered, trying to stack the firewood again. "How the hell does one build a simple campfire?" Draco nearly jumped out of his skin as he heard your voice behind him. He had been so focused on his task that he hadn't even heard you approach. He turned to you, trying to act cool despite the small jolt of surprise his heart had given. "You wouldn't, by chance, know how to stack these, would you?" he asked, gesturing to the haphazard pile of firewood in front of him. Draco was slightly relieved as you agreed to help, grateful that he wouldn't have to struggle alone. He stepped back, giving you some space to work. "Yeah, be my guest. I've been trying for the past 5 minutes, and it keeps collapsing." Working together, you and Draco managed to finally stack the logs into a suitable arrangement. It wasn't quite perfect, but it looked like it would stay put. Once you were all finished, Draco pulled out his wand and aimed it at the firewood. With a flick of his wrist, he cast a spell, causing a small spark to ignite the wood. The fire crackled to life as soon the logs caught, casting a warm, flickering glow around the small campfire. Draco couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment as he watched the fire catch. The flames danced merrily, casting shadows across both of your faces. He looked over at you, a soft smile playing on his lips. "Not too shabby for a first try, huh?" he said, still holding his wand in his hand. As Draco turned around, his attention caught on the bag of marshmallows you had brought. His heart skipped a beat as a wave of heat rushed to his face. He remembered your words in your diary about how you loved roasting marshmallows over a fire. He quickly averted his gaze, trying to play it cool as he mumbled, You brought marshmallows." He tried to keep his cool, nodding nonchalantly, even though he was feeling anything but calm. "Oh, right, of course," he replied, his voice a little too casual. "Yeah, a bit of marshmallow roasting sounds fun." He couldn't help but sneak another glance at you, taking in your blushing face and the bag of marshmallows clutched in your hands. Despite trying to play it cool, Draco felt a sense of anticipation building inside him. The thought of roasting marshmallows with you, under the stars and the glow of the campfire, sounded almost too perfect. He shifted awkwardly, his gaze still drawn to the bag of marshmallows in your hands. "So, how about we get started on those?" he suggested, gesturing to the fire with a small nod. Draco watched as you sat down beside him, the warm fire casting a cozy glow on your face. He couldn't help but notice how cute you looked, illuminated by the crackling flames. He mentally cursed himself for the thoughts running through his mind. He was supposed to be casual, just two friends, roasting marshmallows, nothing more. But his heart was doing its own thing, fluttering like a caged bird in his chest. "Here, let me help you with that," he said, reaching out to take the bag of marshmallows from you. His fingers brushed against yours, sending a small jolt of electricity through his body. "Are you comfortable?" "Okay, good. Right, first one's for you." Draco slowly placed the marshmallow onto the stick, then turned to look at you. He was still taken aback by the moment you two were sharing. With a smile, he gently handed it over to you to roast over the fire. Draco then carefully made one of his own, patiently waiting for it to roast. "So, I wanted to talk to you about something." Draco took a deep breath, trying to calm his beating heart. You could practically feel the nervousness radiating off him. He wasn't sure how you would react to what he was about to confess. "So, like, the other night at camp, I was reading, and I really didn't mean to, but I sort of accidentally picked up a book I don't think I was supposed to see. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't exactly know it was yours till after." "Yeah, I figured you had found it. I hid it on the shelf so I can see who went looking for it the next morning, but you beat me to it." "I hope you're not mad at me." Well, I didn't read too much, but just enough to know that you have a little crush on the infamous Draco Malfoy. Thank you for complimenting my hair, by the way. And that you really wanted to roast marshmallows with me. You don't have to hide your face. Come on, are you blushing? It's okay. I really wanted to roast some marshmallows with you too. Don't tell me you thought I was gathering firewood for nothing. It's okay, I should be more embarrassed, not you. That's the thing, I wanted to know if you wanted to go out sometime, like on a date when we go back to school. Yeah, no, I would love to get to know you better. Honestly, I feel like an idiot for not noticing you before. Here, have another. As Draco carefully placed the marshmallow onto the stick, he found himself sitting closer to you than he had planned. His knee brushed against yours, and his shoulder was almost touching yours as he leaned over to slide the marshmallow onto the stick. He paused for a moment, his gaze meeting yours. His heart did a small backflip as he found himself just inches away from your face, close enough to see the flecks of gold in your eyes. As he looked into your eyes, Draco found himself momentarily stunned. The firelight danced across your face, illuminating your features and making you look even more beautiful. He found himself saying something without even thinking, his voice quiet and filled with a hint of awe. "It's "It's your eyes," he murmured, his gaze still locked with yours. I like how your eyes catch the firelight. They're beautiful." For the rest of the night, Draco felt a sense of peace settle over him. He continued to roast marshmallows with you, the comfortable silence between you both filled only by the crackling of the fire and the soft sound of the wind rustling through the trees. He was still hyper-aware of your proximity, but he found himself relaxing little by little. The tension in his shoulders slowly melted away until he was lounging comfortably by your side, occasionally sneaking glances at you and the way the firelight glimmered in your eyes. Draco chuckled softly, his arm instinctively moving to wrap around you as you leaned into him. "It feels like a dream, doesn't it?" he said, his voice low and thoughtful. He looked down at you, taking in the sight of you nestled against him. It all felt surreal, like something out of one of his wildest daydreams. He was tempted to pinch himself just to make sure it was actually real. As the night deepened, the two of you continued to roast marshmallows and chat by the warmth of the campfire. The hours passed by in what felt like minutes, and Draco found himself completely engrossed in the simple comfort of your company. He couldn't remember the last time he had felt so relaxed and at ease. The tension and stress that often weighed heavily on him seemed to melt away, replaced by a sense of peace that he had never experienced before. The crackling flames, the soft breeze, and the sight of you sitting so close to him, it all felt almost magical,